Okay, well. As I walked into the kitchen, I met with the sad sight of Monica in distress, tossing a pan in the sink out of anger as she buries her head in her arms. Monica? What's wrong? Are you okay? Ah! Daniel! There's no point in lying to you. Not when we promised to be honest with each other. I don't know what to do, Daniel. Tell me what's wrong, Monica. Well, I think I made a mistake when cooking the food and now it's ruined. She's desperately trying to fight back tears in her eyes and trying to keep a straight face, but she is failing miserably. Damn it all! She clangs another pan against what she threw in the sink. I can't do a damn thing right! I got you all excited and everything for our first dinner together, and now... I just... Okay. I'm gonna tell you right now, this choice does matter. And because this choice matters, and because I'm a completionist, meaning I have to watch these girls be miserable before I can get to see them be happy, I hate this. I hate this. I really hate this. This is what I want to say to her. Because, obviously, you don't want her to be sad. But then, like, when we were kind of thinking, like, what if we were to add, like, a sort of secret ending? I came up with this idea, and I guess I'm just gonna say it now, but yeah, I'm not too proud of this one. Just because after writing it, it made me feel awful. Like, in a sense, like, kind of like Tainted Love all over again, but... okay, fine. No point in trying to delay the inevitable. Okay, well then. I'm not prepared for what happens next as Monica begins crying, unable to hold back her tears any longer. I can't stand this. So, I'm gonna call this the impatient option, where, for whatever reason, he just becomes impatient. Which kind of contradicts his character, but like I said, I kind of thought, well, in a sense to myself, like, this would be the only way to kind of lead into this secret ending. This is honestly getting on my nerves. Crying about messing up the food isn't going to fix anything. Just forget about it and start over again. I hate this. Like I said, you know how much I hate seeing Monica crying. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I do not like seeing her sad and crying or in pain or anything. You're right, Daniel. I shouldn't be wasting time sitting here crying about it. I can already imagine you're disappointed that it's taking forever for dinner to be ready. I'm sorry you had to see that. Crying isn't going to get anything done. In a sense, this almost... well, I guess useless trivia for you, but in a sense, my quote-unquote inspiration for this is kind of like all the times that my father used to get angry at me as a little boy whenever he saw me crying about anything, and him just telling me, you know, like, you know, quit doing that, you're supposed to be a man, and men aren't supposed to cry, and blah 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 blah. So I kind of took that and I thought, well, like, how can I kind of, you know, translate this into something that might help here? And I thought, well, you know, like, make it so that he doesn't like seeing her crying, and he associates it with, like, you know, wasting time. I won't waste your time anymore. See? I'll do better this time. I promise. Part of me feels like a jerk for saying all that to her, but before I can mull it over some more, I remember why I came here in the first place. Oh, before I forget, Monica, I wanted to ask you when your birthday was. You want to know my birthday? I mean, if we're going to be a couple, we have to know little things about each other, right? I'm pretty sure your birthday ought to be on the top of my list of things to know. Alright, I'll tell you, but just this once, okay? And kind of pay attention to the tone of that she's kind of talking to you here. And, well, the tone in her words. My birthday is September 22nd, alright? Don't forget it now. I got it. Alright, I told you mine, so how about yours? Mine is October 29th. Looks like that means I'm a bit older than you, Daniel. Oh. I guess it does. Monica doesn't say anything as she looks at me for a while before turning back around. I better get back to working on the food. I can't be wasting too much time when you've been waiting so patiently for me. Right. Well, I'll leave you to it then. Okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna say right now that the other option would have the polar opposite feeling to that whole thing. But, yeah, for right now, let's see. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna kind of... This is gonna be my branching point. Hopefully, now then, I have to head back into Monica's room for what is hopefully the last time. I take the flashlight in my hand and proceed. Okay, well... Yep, so this is more or less the home stretch here, I'm gonna say now. Okay, she's not gonna say anything. Okay, the ninja consultant... Oh great, I have to... Okay, so I guess another bit of a... what I'm gonna call a glitch here. Well, now it's okay to go into Monica's bedroom, but... Yeah, don't leave the living room and then come back, because then you get kind of trapped in the whole sequence of events where... with the do you remember the time clue. So this is the last time we're gonna be in the living room. And let's see. Let's go to our base of operations. Apparently there is nothing. Let's see, there's nothing here. This door is locked. I hope I don't need to look for the key. Okay, but I don't know what key though. Let's see, this door is locked. I hope I don't need to look for the key. Yeah, this is kind of strange. Okay, well I guess... Well, I am obviously gonna have to let him know about some of these so-called glitches, as I call them. Other than that, though... Okay. So yeah, now is the point when you're supposed to go into Monika's room here. Okay, well, so here is the follow-up segment to the other one, which was originally part of episode 2. You're gonna see why I kind of did this. Before we get into things though, I should say that I'm still playing the second build of the game. There is a third version that I'm still gonna have to test through myself. That'll be the one that I will hopefully put up for people to download. This version, as I mentioned, well, in between recording the last episode and this one, we did kind of go back and, well, everything should be fixed now, so... Anyway, so this was what I accidentally showed before, and this is why, you know, considering this is kind of like one of the major turning points of the game, and I accessed it too early. I was like, oh, no, we really can't have that happening. I feel desensitized to Monika's room at this point, since I've been in here so many times already. Sometimes more times than you should have. I know how weird it sounds, but there's no other way I can think of putting it. I look around her room for something that would need a password or code. So the last clue that we had said that we needed her birthday, and that would be the key to something. There's nothing I can see until my eyes land on her desk. There's a computer sitting there with the power off. Okay, so he did go back and fix this. So before we settled on this background, and I had another one in mind, I had the idea that Monika would have a laptop, but since this one already had a computer in there, I figured, well, having a laptop and a computer would be kind of redundant, don't you think? Okay. I take a seat at the desk and power it on. Upon doing so, it asks me for a passcode. 0922. Sure enough, that worked. Monika needs to rethink her choice of passwords. Anyone who knows her birthday can just break into this thing. Well, lucky for me, but unlucky for her, I suppose. Okay, and now we can have a look at her desktop here. This is actually a wallpaper that he chose for her. The laptop boots up, and I'm at her desktop. I glance over everything until my eyes land on a document named The Answer. The answer to that of which you seek. Either she's pulling my leg here, or this is it. This is it, Luigi. Once again, not too creative, but I'm not going to question it. Time to see what's in this document. Opening it up reveals some kind of diary. Alright, here we go. Let's see, so I'm wondering how this is going to work here. Oh wait, is there... Oh great, no, I'm getting... Okay, no, this... I hope this isn't a jump scare. Well, this is definitely a very nice effect, though. I didn't even think of... or... No, never mind. I'll save that for later. March 22nd. My name is Monika Akiyama. I live here with my father and mother in this nice suburban area. My father is a businessman for some kind of business that I can't be bothered to remember. He's kind of a boring and plain businessman, now that I think of it. There's almost nothing remarkable about him, now that I think of it. Okay, just click to go forward. He's just an unremarkable man who got a job, fell in love, got married, had a daughter, cheats on his wife, leads a secret double life, and goes on about life as if everything is completely normal and boring like he is. My mother has her line of work as well as a journalist. She's not around as much, and as much as my father hates it, she makes more money than he does. I think part of the reason she's not around is so she doesn't have to face the reality of how awful her cheating husband is, or how much of a failure her daughter is in life. I know how she feels, and I wish I could just run away from everything as well, but I imagine my father would lose his mind without either of us here. Maybe that's why she stays here, continuously suffering. She doesn't want to abandon her husband and let him spiral into depression, or let her daughter, who she constantly pressures into being a good student. I'm keeping a diary to put down my innermost thoughts and reflect on them later. There might even be some value to it if someone else were to read it. Right now you're reading someone's private thoughts. Thoughts that I have never shared with anyone else, mind you. While I know I'm doing this to keep my mind straight, I think that what I want is for someone to help me and save me from this nightmare. I don't know how to go about it, though. I can't ask for help directly unless I want people to think I'm worthless like my parents do. If someone truly cares about me, maybe they will try to get closer to me. If I can trust and confide in them, I can tell them. How will I know, though? The only way I feel I can do this without being too direct is by piquing their interest a little bit. Perhaps by luring them into wanting to learn more about me and hoping their curiosity gets the better of them as they try to sate their thirst for answers. Maybe with some notes, or maybe a scavenger hunt. Well, it worked twice. March 30th. I'm currently keeping both of them under close surveillance. There has been a monumental change since the whole process started a week ago. At first they resisted me and even lashed out at me, but now they fear me. After these years of being so scared of them, now the tables have turned, and I have the power over them. I prepare their meals, but I refuse to give them utensils. If they don't want to eat with their hands, then it's no big loss to me. Things are going to change around here. I'm not going to let them run me into the ground any longer. To show them some mercy, I tried to teach them a few things to help them adapt to this new way of life. After all, teaching lessons is the best way to help people learn and improve, right? To my dismay, they didn't take me seriously. They ignored everything I said and did, and instead called me a demon child or devil spawn. I felt my generosity fade. I punished them by taking away their food privileges for a week. April 6th. I went to check in on my parents. By the time the week was up, I saw that my dad died, withering away to practically nothing. Mom was wasting away as well, clearly about to meet the same fate. When I tried to talk to her, she didn't respond. She didn't have the energy to cry or even look me in the eyes. It's like she was just an empty shell. I couldn't sleep at all that night. I'm scared that I might have gone too far with this punishment, even if they were causing me so much strife and grief. They didn't deserve this fate. What was I thinking? I might have gone past the point of no return now, and I don't know what to do. I just wanted to teach them a lesson, but then I guess my anger and lust for revenge clouded my judgment. In that sense, I became someone even worse than the two of them put together. All I could do was lay there in my bed, trembling and crying to myself, "What have I done? What have I become?" I sink into the chair once I finish reading everything. So anyway, I did have this idea of maybe having a sort of transparent sprite of Monica as you're reading this, right in front of you, to kind of give off the illusion that, this is Monica's mind here, and this is her straight up reaching out to whoever's reading this, telling them her dark secret. I sink into the chair once I finish reading everything. The scavenger hunt. her stress, her parents. It all seems to make sense now. I don't even know what to make of this. Seriously, like, what would you be able to make of this? If you read something like this, what would you think? Would you even want to stick around anymore? Would you even be able to see this person? Like, this would probably change how you see her forever. Even thinking about it makes me sick to my stomach. I try to get up, but I stumble a little bit, as my knees seem to have gone weak. As I fall to the floor, I notice something under the desk. What is this? Reaching over, I find yet another torn diary scrap. The final one. Even now, she's still doing this. There's no going back now. You and I know this all too well. If you're reading this, then you know my dark secret. You've also demonstrated that you've tried to understand me to some extent, if you made it this far. Do you want to know how this sad little story ends? Fine. I'll tell you. Just go on and gently open the door. You know the way. This isn't much of a diary scrap as it is a challenge directed at the reader. A challenge directed at me. My hands are shaking as I turn the scrap over to see what I believe is the final clue. Monica, you've changed things. Forever. There's no going back now. Not for you, or me in this case. If what I've just read on that laptop is true, then you've committed some dark deeds that you can never go back on. You forced your parents to become so malnourished that they died. As much as I'd rather not, I walk over to the closet and gently open the door. Okay, well, breaking immersion a little bit. I originally did think about, like, maybe having a CG here, but, well, in the end, the artist that I was talking to wasn't able to complete it in time, and so I ended up kind of scrapping that idea anyway, and plus, well, you'll see. I was thinking of just having the CG be of him opening the closet door, and it just being kind of like this dark space. Upon doing so, I find it to be so dark that I can't see anything. That's when I look over to the flashlight I brought with me. I snatch it and turn it on to shed some light on this dark situation. Okay, well, let's see. Okay, I think I lost some audio there. I would expect that we're not going to actually see anything here, but let's see. That's when I begin to wish I hadn't done that, and I could forget what I forced myself to see. There, I see a group of corpses that are beyond recognition. One appears to be female, one appears to be male, and the other appears to be a male, albeit of a smaller build. There's a thick stench in the air that makes me nearly want to puke. Honestly, how could anyone ignore this? Monica, what have you done? I try to persevere to get a better look. None of them have any visible injuries. That's when I deduce that two of these corpses must belong to Monica's parents, going off her confession note to starving them to death. The other, that must be Mark. I have to get away from here. Not just from this awful odor, but to avoid getting myself into further trouble should Monica discover me here. I'll just walk away and pretend I never saw any of this. Yeah, that's what I'll do. After that, I get the hell out of here and think of my next move. What will that be? I have no idea, but I'll think of that later. And... congratulations, we're dead. I step away and turn around, and I am met with Monica's stern face glaring at me. Fuck my life. What do you think you're doing, Daniel? I thought I told you not to go snooping around a girl's room. What can I even say at this point? Yeah, it's pretty obvious what you've done. There's really no other excuse you can make that's believable. Oh, well, I was just looking around your room for gift ideas. I had no idea you were a big fan of Cascada. I reach over for one of Monica's CDs, holding it up and smiling. Okay. Well, I guess this didn't quite differ as much as I thought it would. Well, let's see. Yeah, I don't think that's going to convince her. She looks past my shoulder to see her open closet door. Because I guess I'm gonna just do a minor spoiler here, but for the ending that I'm going for here, I actually wrote somewhat of a different sequence for when Monica would confront you, where she's like a little more stern with you because she's already kind of like going off the previous interaction. She already feels hurt, and now she's even more hurt that not only did you kind of, you know, snap at her and order her to, you know, start all over again with the food, but now you've broken into her room and you're invading her privacy after promising that you wouldn't. So, well, we'll see. I'm still probably going to make a separate video for the other endings. This one gets a video all on its own, and you're gonna see why. Well then. So, you've seen my dark secret, haven't you? Secrets? What secrets? I didn't see any secrets. I sure didn't see any dead bodies or anything like that. What the hell is wrong with you, blabbermouth? Like I said, at this point, there's really nothing you can do to convince her that you're innocent here. Ah, screw it. I'm as good as dead anyway. Pretty much. What's wrong, Daniel? Are you scared? My hands have become quite shaky to the point I lose my grip on the flashlight, letting it fall to the floor. It was very difficult for me, Daniel. Will you listen to what I have to say? They say there's no point in prolonging the inevitable, but I give a nod. I might as well enjoy however much time I have left. It's too bad I can't be anywhere else but here right now. Thanks, Daniel. Where do I begin? When I was little, I wasn't anything like I am right now. I was very shy, timid, and I could hardly do anything on my own. The old me, the original me, is nothing like what people see me as today. I was bullied quite a bit until the end of junior high, when I tried to adopt the mask I've worn to fool everyone. Before that, though, people picked on me for being so scared of everything, and for how I was so easy to fool and trick into doing anything. I was everyone's doormat. I was everyone's fool. I was often picked on by some of the jocks for being so homely and gloomy looking too. That's when I tried to turn things around and become a prudent student, and it kind of worked. It's unfathomable to think that Monica, one of the most beautiful girls in the school, was being picked on for being homely. I placed the CD on one of the shelves next to me as I continued to listen to her. I couldn't take the never-ending torture anymore. I dedicated myself to my studies and worked very hard to get to where I am today. I started to dress differently, and I even started wearing my hair differently. After applying myself, it was like the old me no longer existed. She was nothing more than a memory. A memory that a lot of people conveniently forgot about. I changed everything about myself. Not just on the outside, but inside as well, as I adopted a more confident, cheerful attitude that was nothing like the old me, who was scared and had little to no self-confidence. So basically, fake it until you make it, right? No one bullied me anymore. If anything, I had so many people wanting to be my friend. In some cases, I even had a lot of guys approaching me and showering me with compliments. Some of those jocks who picked on me were now throwing themselves at me for a chance to be with me. Huh. If only they knew who they were hitting up on, I'd bet they'd feel like total idiots. The original her. I never would have guessed that the original Monica was this scared, broken person inside. No wonder she felt like she needed a mask for people to accept her. It's no wonder she was unsatisfied with herself. That didn't matter to my parents, though. Sure, they were pleased with my new grades for a while, but anything outside of that? You really can't do anything right, can you? They tell me things like that day in and day out, and frankly, I couldn't take it anymore. No matter what I did, there was no pleasing anyone. I could honestly care less about what the teachers and students thought about me. My parents were the ones I wanted to be happy with me. I didn't want them to toss me away like I was some kind of failure or defective toy. Yet they didn't understand me or accept me. I think back to the diary entries and her confession notes. She seemed overwhelmed and like she was desperate for help. This doesn't justify her actions, but she was blinded by her frustration and what seems to be years of pain and torment from never being accepted for who she truly was. Even now, she still isn't accepted for being the original her. This is just a mask, as she said. Admittedly, I had a lapse in judgment when I snapped one day after I couldn't take it anymore. It was like a poison running through my veins, and it just took me over completely. I shouldn't have gone about things the way I did. I just didn't see it that way at the time. All I wanted was to punish them for never accepting me. For never loving me for the person I truly was. I just wanted revenge, as sad as it sounds. Validation. I still did everything I could to take care of them, and think of ways to make sure the people at their workspaces didn't get suspicious. Yes. I shouldn't have let it come to this, but once I made that decision to let them go a week without food, it was already too late. I was even wondering if I deserved to live after what I had done. If I should atone for my dark deeds. Monica, That's when Mark came into my life and confessed that he lied to me one day. I was so happy, and I thought that I found someone who would understand me. I brought him over to my house, a lot like I did with you, and he eventually found out about my secret, and it mortified him. Understandably so, but I was hoping he would at least give me a chance to explain myself. That's one thing I will say about you, Daniel. He didn't want to hear a single word from me about why I did the things I did. He automatically branded me a criminal, a murderer. He confronted me, but then he tried to get away, threatening to expose me as the demented psychopath I was. But then I caught him. I couldn't risk anyone finding out about this, so I made sure to keep him right here with me, forever. So after all this time, Mark disappearing was because... That's right. No one could know. Mark made it clear that he wouldn't rest until the world knew about me, but I couldn't have that. There was already nothing else for me to lose, so I gave him the same treatment as my parents. I had already become so dark and twisted by my lust for revenge that I just gave in to it. I already accepted that no one would ever love or accept me for who I was, so there was no point in trying to live a normal life any longer. Then there was you. For some reason, I felt you would be different, but now... I guess my father was right. No matter how much I change, I'm still that gullible, empty-headed girl with her head in the clouds. Wait, Monica... No! I'm not listening to any of your lies or accusations anymore, Daniel! You've shown your true colors, as I've shown you mine. You're full of nothing but lies and deception. You think I'm going to give up so easily like I almost did with Mark? Well, sorry to disappoint you even more than I already have. Okay, so this is still the worst ending. I'm just gonna straight up say it right now. This is the worst ending to the mod. Not the bad ending, the worst ending. You might even say that I kind of hate myself for writing this ending. Monica reaches behind her desk and produces a metal bat. My father gave this to me, saying that I should have it in case I needed it for self-protection. Who knew I'd use this against him and my mom? It was so easy too, knocking them both out and overpowering them. You're insane. If I wasn't, this all probably never would have worked. Before I can dash to the door, Monica takes a mighty swing with her bat, striking me in the head and sending me falling to the floor. As I feel my world fading around me, I hear Monica say something. That's another one for me and Mr. Bat. Monica. No. Oh, you're still awake? I guess I need to work on my swing more. Oh well. Shut up and sleep. I awaken to find myself in Monica's bed, with an excruciating headache, and my body tied up. Monica said she did something similar to her parents, right? I guess she's become an expert at this method of capture. How's my loving boyfriend doing on this wonderful morning? Monica? Why? I had a lot of high hopes for you, Daniel. Then again, that's probably my fault for having my head in the clouds so much, right? Now that you know everything, I can't set you free. You can't do this. Au contraire, I can and I will. You're the fourth one I've done this to. You're one sick, twisted bitch. You know that? Before I can say anything else, Monica's bat connects with my face. That's no way to speak to your new caretaker, Daniel. Now apologize! Make me. Monica has a nasty grin on her face as she raises the bat behind her head. That can be arranged. She takes a few swings at my legs, each swing getting stronger than the last. Now, what were you saying? Ah! I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Go to hell. That last act of defiance ended up being my... yeah, I guess too much last. That act of defiance ended up being my last, as Monica completely lost it and unleashed her fury on me. As I screamed in pain with each strike from her bat, I couldn't help but wonder just how it was I fell in love with such a sick and twisted woman like her. No, she wasn't sick and twisted. At least, she wasn't always this way. There's a saying out there that life throws many challenges at you, and how you react to those challenges shows the kind of character you have. For Monica, I guess all this mental and emotional torture was too much for her. It turned some shy, timid girl into a crazy maniac with a lust for revenge. Although I can't fully understand the full extent of her pain, it drove her to do all these questionable things with little to no remorse. As I draw my last breath, I can't help but feel bad for her, as we both took one last look at each other with tears in both our eyes. Worst ending, Poison Ivy. Alright, and ironic. So this uses an achievement system kind of like Shattered Time did. And, well, yeah, so Poison Ivy, the worst ending, is technically the first one you're supposed to get. I don't even know, but okay, well, that is the worst ending. And now I can go through the bad endings and the true ending to this game, now that this one's out of the way. And I guess, yeah, I did talk things over with him a little bit, and according to Rocketman909, you are definitely going to want to get the true ending. Not just because it is my favorite ending in the game, but also because you kind of need it to kind of complete the game. Well, you'll see, eventually. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with whatever else I do. Stay golden, and later, folks.